Waking up to winter weather means slick roads and school closings. Well, you can expect all day as you head out the door. Plus,
one city is keeping you safe in a different way. How Grandview is pre-treating their roads.
And we have more than snow in today's forecast.
The way one utility company stays prepared for freezing rain on days like today. We've got you covered with crews tracking the storm from around the metro. Our team coverage begins right now.
41 Action News starts now.
Good morning, 6 a.m. Welcome to 41 Action News today. I'm Lindsay Shively.
And I'm Taylor Hemness. Nearly every school district in the metro closed today because of the winter weather conditions we're expecting.
And a lot of these districts made that call hours before the snow and the ice and sleet began. Now it is here.
Yep, school may be out, but work does not stop for a lot of people. That means meteorologist Lindsay Anderson tracking the winter forecast before you head out the door. And it could be slick as soon as you step out the door, Lindsay.
Absolutely. Driveways, sidewalks, your side streets, those untreated surfaces are proving to be a little more hazardous than some of our pre-treated roads, as we've heard from Gerard and Storm Tracker today. Bordner Skyview Network shows a lot of shine on the roads. Do not be overconfident on that shine. Some of it may be black ice and will likely be very icy or slick as we drive into work this morning. I would add that extra time. We're at 27 degrees KCI, and that means our surface temperatures, the road pavement temperatures, are below freezing as well. So everything that's falling is sticking and clinging and will become a problem, especially on our windshields of the cars and on those streets. So we have some snow that's trying to fall. Chillicothe, Gallatin, Maysville, St. Joseph. I've been checking the Maryville camera. Doesn't look like snow is falling at the moment, so we'll have to see when it's actually reaching the ground. But here in the metro, we know precipitation is coming down. We have sleet and freezing rain at the moment, and more of a freezing rain profile with the pink: Clinton, Butler, Ottawa, and Garnett, Kansas. Winter weather advisories last until 6 p.m. today, and we have a couple of our counties in a winter storm warning as well, where more ice is expected in the forecast. We're going to dive into this in more detail, including when we'll start to warm up and see that transition to liquid rain. That's all in a bit, but first let's get to George Bailey out in Storm Tracker, making sure those conditions are okay for us to get into work this morning. Gerard, what are you seeing out there?
It will surprise you at times, Lindsay, so let me just get right to what we're going to be seeing here. I'm turning the camera around because when we face it forward, it just gets covered with ice. You know it's cold enough. As bridge we're on, I can tell very differently that it is much colder and likely much slicker than the road. The roads have been wet, so the treatments seem to be doing their job. This is 71 Highway as we're coming upon the Grandview Triangle. You can see the windshield wiper that we're using to wipe out the camera has, of course, ice on it as well. So just about everything elevated is getting ice as we are getting our next batch of freezing rain. Temperature 28 degrees, so we know this is just going to collect as ice. The treatment is the only thing that's excuse me, helping us right now. Though we do know the bridges are what will surprise folks, where the roads will be wet. When you come upon a bridge, it may get slick very quickly. So better to anticipate that happening, and that means slow speeds, especially if you are getting ready to go over some of these areas that are covered with ice, like these bridges here that we'll be coming upon. We're going to head on 435 and have a look at the south side of the metro here soon enough, and we'll be back with an update coming up here in a few minutes. We'll send it back to you, Lindsay.
Yeah, thank you, Gerard. Be careful out there. And as Gerard was saying, those bridges and overpasses we're watching, it even looks like on your map that's where it looks slow. Maybe people are driving slow.
Yeah, that's where we're seeing those yellow and orange spots, which is where you see things moving a little bit slow. As you can see here, I've been monitoring. At least 30 minutes ago, there was up to 4 crashes. Now there's about 2. I'm still keeping my eye on our maps. It's actually constantly changing. And so as we take a look at one of them here at I-435 West at 69, you could see a crash here and a bit of a slowdown as they're kind of moving traffic over to the left-hand side. I'm going to continue to monitor that one. But if you're headed in that direction, be sure to give yourself some extra time. If you're headed into downtown, things looking all right for the moment. Liberty to downtown, 13 minutes. Olathe, 20 minutes. And Blue Springs, you're looking at 19 minutes.
All right, Deja, thank you very much. Road crews work to try to get ahead of this storm. A lot of you might have seen or heard the salt under your wheels late last night.
Or this morning, but as 41 Action News reporter Ray Daniel explains, one city taking a different approach to getting ready for today. Ray, what's up?
Well, Taylor and Lindsay, if you're traveling down some of these main streets, you've probably felt like you all were talking about some of that salt underneath the tires. And one of the things Actually, Grandview actually does something a little bit different. We know several cities across the greater KC Metro have been pre-treating the roads, preparing for the past several hours, including Grandview. Now, they do use de-icer before a snowstorm, but they wait until something actually forms on the ground before using salt. The Public Works Director says this saves money. He also doesn't believe it's efficient to use salt on dry roads.
I'm not going to recommend wasting $9,000 or $10,000 and then just seeing it go down the drain. It doesn't make it safer, it doesn't help snow, and then it eventually ends up in our rivers and streams, and salt's a real bad contaminant. So environmentally, it's probably one of the worst things you could do.
Now, just last week, it was a much different story in how they were treating the roads. We had the rain and then the freezing rain and then the snow. And this event is kind of backwards. You have that freezing rain, the ice that we're looking at right now, which is very slick, and then the rain comes. So they've been able to pre-treat. They've been doing things a lot differently just compared to last weekend, where they're able to pre-treat for this event, whereas they couldn't do that last weekend. Reporting live, Ray Daniel, 41 Action News Today.
Ray, thank you. Overnight crews for the city of Kansas City reported at 10 o'clock last night. They pre-treated streets, used salt on the hills, the curves, the intersections, and neighborhoods to try to minimize those slick conditions for you this morning. Several other cities also using salt brine, including Lee Summit, Leawood, Olathe, Independence, and Belton. A lot of work goes into days like today.
When it comes to ice storms, power outages are always a concern.
Evergy says they are ready for that, though. 41 Action News anchor Brian Madrick here live in the studio to explain more about the utility company's preparations for when they could lose power with ice like this. Brian?
Yeah, that's right. A spokesperson for Evergy tells me one way they get ready for storms like this is by keeping a close eye on it. I want you to take a look at this map right now. Only one customer, one active outage at the moment. Less than 100 people impacted. You can see just how widespread this storm is as it continues to move through our area. Evergy says their system is built to handle a 1/4 inch of ice, and as a result, they're not expecting a wide range of outages, and they point to last weekend's storm where they say less than 1% of customers lost power, and they're confident of a similar outcome in this storm. One reason for that confidence is in the preparation they say takes place before a storm even starts.
One of the things that we do take care of ahead of time for our customers is our tree trimming program. That's something that we monitor throughout the year. It does remove limbs around power lines, which is one of the most prominent threats for us during the winter season.
Now, if you have an outage, Evergy says report it to their website. Also, they say if you see a down power line, treat it as if it's live. I'm Brian Madrick, 41 Action News Today.
Brian, thank you. Remember, you can track the snowstorm even when we're not on the air. You can download our Storm Shield app for your phone or tablet today. You can customize your alerts, see the interactive radar any time of the day. Get that on your phone. Really helpful for days like today.
On this Red Friday, we're also gearing up for the AFC Championship game against the Titans.
Chiefs had the chance to bring home the prize named after their founder, the Lamar Hunt Trophy, which they've never won before.
It's just too perfect.
Yep.
It's time. Right now, this is their mantra. Don't let the pressure get to you. We caught up with former offensive lineman Tim Grunhard after his weekly talk radio segment. He said last year's experience in the AFC Championship game, that's going to help him a lot. We sure hope so. He says the players should feel some motivation from the fans, too.
We put the fans through a lot here in Kansas City. In the 90s, we went to the playoffs, I think, 9 times, and we didn't have an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. We lost in AFC Championship games a couple of times over the last 20, 25 years. So let's get that kind of monkey off our back and go ahead and go to a Super Bowl and let the Kansas City Chiefs fans enjoy and be a part of watching a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs in it.
Grunhard will be at Arrowhead on Sunday. He predicts the Chiefs win.
Of course he does.
He knows what he's talking about.
Of course he does. If you're thinking about going to the game, by the way, still plenty of tickets available. Cheapest we found, $216 looks like right there, up to about the $230 area. Best seats is a little bit of a different option because those are going to run just a scotch higher than $230. Yeah, there we are, $1,500, $1,600.
Oh.
If you're trying to sit close to the field, that's what you should expect to pay. But it might be worth it, maybe.
Oof, looks like Arrowhead will be made up of mostly Chiefs fans come Sunday.
Sure.
That's right. According to StubHub, 22% of their tickets bought in Kansas, 22% bought in Missouri.
There you go.
Just 11% from Tennessee. There are some people coming from other areas. Chiefs Kingdom is huge, folks. StubHub says in total, fans from 5 countries and 47 states purchased tickets. That is awesome. I mean, we have had people from Iowa, Nebraska, and Indiana just in one tailgate last weekend.
Absolutely. I love that stat.
Yeah.
Well, coming up at 6:10 right now, you're seeing a lot of activity going on, specifically on I-70. We're actually seeing a crash in this area. And if you take a look, it's a multi-vehicle crash on I-70 West, just past 7 Highway. So the left-hand shoulder and the first 2 lanes on that left-hand side are closed. Now take a look at the bigger picture of what we're seeing in that area. You can see here there are some crews on scene and some slow-moving traffic. And on our wide view map, that was that area that you saw in the red and the orange, things moving slow. So if this is part of your commute, you're going to want to find an alternate route or even just avoid this area. Now, as we take a look from the wider view past I-435 West at 69, this is just a look at the backup caused by this multi-vehicle crash. I'm going to continue to monitor and keep you updated throughout the morning. Lindsay?
All right, Deja, thank you so much. We appreciate that because some of the roads are turning icy quickly. The pre-treated roads are handling this ice a little better, but don't get overconfident. Still take your time today. You don't want to slip and slide. You're on your way into work this morning. Temperatures are in the 20s. We're noticing some of that sleet and freezing rain still falling outside. And with our temperatures well below freezing, it's clinging, especially to our car windshield and those bridges and overpasses. Look at our temperatures slowly climbing to that freezing mark after the lunch hour. I think we're going to see some improvements majorly on the roadways closer to about 2 or 4 p.m. today when we get around or above that freezing mark and we turn from that freezing rain to a liquid rain into the evening hours. We have your PowerCast on this, talking about ice amounts in just a bit.
Lindsay, thank you. Some breaking news this morning. We're following a serious fire in Kansas City, Missouri. A live look at the scene near East 12th Terrace and Ewing Avenue in KCMO. We're told it started when one house and then spread to the house next door. Right around 5 a.m., we're told there are injuries in this fire. At this point, we're waiting to confirm just how serious those injuries are. Charlie Keegan is on his way to that scene right now. He'll bring us an update live as soon as he arrives. We'll continue to watch for that this morning. Well, as often as they can, crews pre-treat the streets with this stuff to make it safer. But what's the lasting impact of road salt? We'll dig into that coming up.
And we've had meteorologist Gerard Shively out in Storm Tracker watching those roads. Look at the shine from the headlights and taillights. He says definitely got to be careful this morning. We'll check in on all that. We'll be right back.
Storm Tracker on 41 Action News is sponsored by Gladstone Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram.
Slick roads causing a big issue this morning on our roadways. In fact, along I-70 West at Highway 7, you can see here a multi-vehicle crash, and the left 2 lanes are closed, causing a bit of a slowdown in the area. Now, here's what things are looking like from the other end of that. I-435 West at 69, you can see the backup, a lot of brake lights in this area. So if this is part of your commute, you're going to want to give yourself a lot of extra time and be safe out on those slick roadways.
Yes, Deja, thank you so much. Only 6:15. We've seen so many issues already. With snow coming down, freezing temperatures, you will see crews out treating these roads this morning.
And our consumer investigator, Kat Reed, reveals the consequences that come with that material that they're spreading on the street right now.
We rely on salt every winter to get around safely on the roads and sidewalks, but scientists say this material comes with a price. When there's snow or sleet, salt isn't far behind. Each year, Americans spread 48 billion pounds of it on roadways, according to reporting by USA Today.
We know we have to get people moving throughout our city during a snow event, and we know that salt can be really effective at helping us with that. So there are lots of things to balance.
It's a balance because all that sodium chloride doesn't just disappear. It can enter our water and soil with major consequences for plants and wildlife. A U.S. Geological Survey study found average chloride concentrations in urban streams are increasing rapidly, often exceeding toxic levels. Scientists say road salt even played a part in the Flint water crisis. The water had a high concentration of chloride, which corroded the city's lead pipes. On top of all of that, a Washington State professor estimates the U.S. spends $5 billion a year to repair damages to roads from the use of salt.
Yes, salt does impact the pavement, but so do wet conditions and snow cycles. And so it really is sort of a trade-off of all of these things.
KCMO tries to lessen negative impacts by pre-treating with a salt brine.
It's a diluted solution of just salt water, essentially. So that is not as high of a concentration of salt.
The EPA found pre-treating can lead to a 40 to 60% reduction in the overall use of salt, a material that still reigns supreme in winter weather. I'm consumer investigator Kat Reed, 41 Action News Today.
Some departments like MoDOT and KDOT mix beet juice with their salt brine. It gives that brine an extra boost in lower temperatures like we're experiencing this morning. Lindsay?
All right, thank you. Some things to definitely keep in mind. It's 6:17 here, and we've had crews that worked overtime yesterday, overnight, last night, pre-treating the roads, gearing up for this ice that is falling. And it's really light precipitation at the moment. We can hardly see it falling on our Border Skyview network, but it will continue to fill in as we go through the next few hours. So that is certainly helping some of our roadways in a bit. It's not pouring down, which is good. But look at the shine still on our Truman Sports Complex camera along I-70. We have another shot at the Country Club Plaza. Shiny roadways out there, not as many cars out there as well, which is something we like to see on a winter weather advisory day. So we have some sleet to the north, freezing rain to the south, and snow up in northern Missouri. Our air temperatures varying between 23 Chillicothe, 25 St. Joseph, and right around 30 Olathe and Clinton. Let's get a tour of our radar from Bethany through Grant City, Gallatin, Chillicothe. We might notice some of the snow starting to reach the ground at the moment. The sleet is building a little more northward through Liberty, North Kansas City, into Parkville with freezing rain mixed in, and it's turning into more of a freezing rain profile now on the south side of Kansas City through southern Jackson County, Missouri, Johnson County, Kansas, back through Pleasanton, Butler, and Clinton. It looks like the rain, the freezing rain, is really light in a few of our places. I still want you to be very cautious if you have to drive into work this morning. The ice on the roads will certainly be an issue on those elevated surfaces like bridges and overpasses. Those are really tough to pre-treat. And our elevated objects, including your car windshield, you might notice ice build up as you drive into work with these conditions. By the afternoon, temperatures will improve a little bit. I still think we're going to be below freezing for your lunch hour, and slick spots will be a problem. It's not until about 2 to 4 p.m. where temperatures are rising, the ice will begin to melt and just turn to wet conditions on the roadway. So if you can wait today to run any of your errands, head outside, travel around, I would wait till after lunch to do so. Look at our temperatures. We're getting up to 32 by 2 p.m., 34 by 5 o'clock. So your evening rush hour will be so much smoother than this morning. At 8 o'clock this evening, we're right around 35 degrees, and our breezes really start to pick up. So our ice accumulation forecast has some of the heavier totals along and south of I-70, which was the location that's picked up on more ice this morning. So if this is the case, we have a window, a long period of time with that freezing rain. We certainly could pick up a 1/10 to a 1/4 of an inch here in the 435 loop. But those ice higher totals, those isolated higher amounts, maybe focused to our south in these counties shaded in pink. Those are the areas that are in a winter storm warning where icing could get up to 4/10 of an inch of ice. Everywhere else in the advisory, about a 1/10 to a 1/4, less ice accumulations in northern Missouri. So as we get through the ice, as we get through the storm system, the cold air will begin to funnel in. Let's just get to your Chiefs game day forecast because temperatures are awfully cold. 14 degrees tailgating, 22 degrees by game time, and it's going to feel like the lower teens out there with sunshine, luckily for the game. Guys?
Thank you. Happy Red Friday, everybody.
Here.
You're home of the Chiefs. Look who's here in studio with us this morning.
They are here. I brought my breath mints in case the wolf gets fresh again. It's 6:30 here. Everything you need to know for game day, including where you can get these towels. We'll be right back. Careful, careful.
Well, as we continue to monitor your traffic this morning, slick roadways causing a lot of issues on the roadway this morning. Focusing in on, though, near Blue Springs, near this red area here on our wide view maps, as you can see, we're taking a look at a multi-vehicle crash. This on I-70. This is actually a look at the backup caused by this multi-vehicle crash. Now, if we head over to where it's actually happening, you can see the left 2 lanes are closed, causing it to be maybe 1 or 2 lanes. Taking a look at I-70 West, just at 7 Highway. And so we're going to continue to monitor this as we go out throughout the morning.
All right, thank you, Deja. As we inch closer to Sunday's game, we are so a ball of nerves up here. A lot of us still not over last Sunday's wild win.
There was a ball of nerves during that game, too, early on. This morning, sports director Mick Schaefer sharing the most memorable moments, of which there are many, from that game.
All right, Chiefs and Titans Sunday at Arrowhead. It's an AFC Championship game, Red Friday here. And of the many Chiefs touchdowns last week in the divisional game, one of the most memorable moments came after a score. That's right. Case in point. Here we go. Second half, Kansas native Blake Bell scores his first career touchdown. And then Eric Fisher celebrates by bashing 2 beer cans together, Stone Cold Steve Austin style. Stone Cold Austin Ryder had no idea what was going on.
So I didn't notice it until someone, I think when we were going inside, was like, oh, the bench smells like beer. I was like, how did that happen? And then I see the video online of Fish doing the beer thing. And I was like, when, was that after the game? Was that after like a touchdown? He's like, oh, it was after a touchdown. And I was like, I had no idea you did that.
Pretty great. I mean, it's like it timed out perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, I even saw like someone did like a canvas painting, it looked like. I was like, this is great.
It's art now. It's art. All right, Damian Williams jump-started the Chiefs' offense Sunday with the team's first touchdown and chipping away at that lead, but he also had a big negative moment in Nashville against the Titans the first time around, a fumble that Tennessee scooped up and scored.
Man, you know, type person I am, you know, I can't have somebody beat up on me and then come to my house and then think they're going to beat up on me again. So at the end of the day, you know, it's going to be one of those games where, you know, people looking at them as an underdog, but I feel like we're the underdogs right now. They already got one up on us. So I feel like, you know, it's going to be exciting, you know, exciting physical game.
All right, another week, another record to watch out for with Patrick Mahomes. He's thrown 8 touchdown passes through his first 4 postseason games. The record is 11. Quick math tells us he's 3 away from Kurt Warner's mark. Remember, Mahomes just played 3 postseason games. Alex Smith had 10 TD passes his first 4 postseason games, the last 2 with Kansas City. So many more Chiefs to talk to today at Arrowhead, and we'll be out there. Plus, join us for our Road to Miami 30-minute special tonight. That starts at 6:30, hosted by yours truly. We'll see you then.
Mick, thank you. Looking slick this morning, making that silver jacket. As we gear up to host the AFC Championship game on Sunday, the Titans will be here, and right here now,
Casey Wolf for the cheerleaders.
Look at that.
Breaking down what you need to know. We'll be right back with a lot more for Sunday's game and those hips.
I worry about him sometimes. I do. Don't be upset. I do.
6:30, we start with breaking news this morning. A house fire started at one home and then apparently spread to the house next door. You are looking live at the scene near East 12th Terrace and Ewing Avenue in Kansas City. We are told there are injuries. We don't know yet how serious those are. We have 41 Action News reporter Charlie Keegan there. He just got there. He's gathering information right now. We'll have a live report and update coming from him in just a minute. If you're just waking up, your Friday commute might not be smooth sailing.
Likely won't. We're tracking freezing temperatures paired with overnight snow that could be starting. Going to be a hard morning on the roads.
Meteorologist Lindsay Anderson has been tracking. There's so many changes coming today, right, Lynn?
Yes. The big concern will be ice. The snow, that wasn't an issue this morning. The snow is actually moving northeast. So it's really about the sleet and freezing rain today that will start to accumulate pretty quickly throughout the morning and in the early afternoon. I wanted to give you a peek at our weather track radar to show you that there's holes in our radar. It's not raining everywhere. It's very patchy at the moment and light. I think that's really helping our road conditions. Not everyone will experience smooth sailing roads, but with some of the pre-treatment and the crews that are driving around town, that is helping matters a lot. Luckily, it's not coming down pretty heavily. To our north, we do have some bands of snow. This is really from Chillicothe, Gallatin, Maysville, and Albany. In the Northland, more of that sleet, freezing rain mixture. And then on the south side of our viewing area, Clinton, Butler, Pleasanton, that freezing rain starting to pick up more as a wave lifts up to the north and east. So our biggest concerns this morning, these below freezing temperatures. That means our below freezing temperatures are out there on the roadways as well. Icy conditions for our commute to work, but it should be better for your evening drive home. We're going to look at that trend in our PowerCast coming up, guys.
All right, thank you very much.
Any surface that is not treated this morning is going to be very, very slick.
We've already seen several crashes this morning. Gerard Bailey is tracking all of that in Storm Tracker. So how are the roads where you are now, Gerard?
Hey guys, things have been able to stay ahead of the game as far as road crews being able to keep things treated. So most of the roads that we are seeing are passable. Let's look outside right here. This is now on I-35 headed south through Olathe. So we're coming up to Olathe right now. And again, roads so far are just wet. Now this is freezing rain that's beginning to fall again here. We're on the southwest side of this next batch of freezing rain, and it's going to continue to move into the metro. Now, the issues that we have been seeing all morning were related to bridges and overpasses where people may have been going at a decent speed on the roads, but maybe got surprised when they saw that the bridges and overpasses were a whole lot slicker. The treatment so far seemed to be working, so kudos to all the MoDOT and KDOT crews out here working their hardest to try to get these roads taken care of and everyone else. But places that have not been treated are sheets of ice. So the treatments, thankfully, are doing their jobs, and we're going to hope that they can keep up. But we have a whole lot more precipitation to get through over the next 4 to 6 hours. Things are unfortunately just going to be getting mostly worse for everybody. So we'll be tracking and following with the latest, and we'll have updates coming up. I'm meteorologist Gerard Bailey and Storm Tracker.
All right, thanks, Gerard. And speaking of things getting worse, take a look at our wide view map right now. A lot of things popping up on my system here, especially over at I-29 North. Take a look. This is at I-29 North at Tiffany Spring. You can see an incident here on the right-hand side of where traffic is moving into this direction. Things going a little bit slow in that area. If we take a wider picture of kind of what's going on, it's sort of off to the side here, but we are monitoring that for you. Now, if you take a look, I-70 east of Mo 7, this is a backup caused by an incident, a multi-vehicle crash actually over in Missouri, on the Missouri side. And this morning we're actually going to be talking with Markle Johnson. He is with MoDOT. He's going to be joining us by phone. Markle, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Well, how are you guys tackling this situation this morning?
Our crews came in around 11 last night, and they monitored the situation, and ever since then they've been out and about putting down a combination of treatment.
Okay, and you guys are taking a live look right now at the multi-vehicle crash there on I-70. And actually, Markle, this is actually the opposite of what we saw last weekend, right, as far as you guys tackling the situation?
Well, the situation was a little similar, that we did see freezing rain, and we also saw sleet. The savings grace last week is that it happened over the weekend. We're still in the week. This is still a work day for a lot of people. So we encourage everyone to take their time, slow down. Do not drive the posted speed limit. We stress that. Do not drive the posted speed limit. You should be driving well below according to the conditions. So please take your time as you head to work this morning.
Absolutely. Markle Johnson with MoDOT, thank you so much. We're going to continue to monitor the roads this morning to make sure that you get to your destination safely. We're going to be keeping track of this storm all morning. So remember that you can get updates no matter where you are. Just go ahead and download the 41 Action News mobile app.
Thank you, Deja. Yes, everybody be so careful today. And in a couple of days, Arrowhead getting ready to rumble for the second straight year. He's hosting the AFC Championship game against the Titans.
Can we tell you how thrilled we are with the pants you selected this morning, Casey Wolf? These are fantastic pants to wear.
You know it's cold out, right?
Two Chiefs cheerleaders alongside Casey Wolf, Lindsay and Ashley here in the studio with us. When can fans start tailgating on Sunday morning? When do they need to get out there?
Good morning, everybody. We are so excited for Sunday's game. Fans can get out there. The gates open for the parking lots at 9 a.m.
Right.
So get there early. Get your tickets at chiefs.com/parking so you can get into the lot early on Sunday morning.
They get in line before 9 a.m. That's awesome. Okay, so a special giveaway for fans this game. What are these? These are so cool.
Yeah, super cool. So be sure to get to the game early. Yeah, nice close-up. The first 50,000 fans who arrive at Arrowhead on Sunday will receive a special edition playoff rally towel. So provided by Community America Credit Unions and Hy-Vee. So be sure to get yours. Very, very cool.
And you guys, if you can't see at home, this has on it, it says 2019 Conference Championship. So the date is on this. You can, especially if you're sweating during the game because, you know, could have used it last week.
Oh, gosh. Are you all right?
That's sanitary now.
Yeah, that's fine then. Oh, gosh. Hang on to that.
Thank you guys so much. 2 days game day.
I'm going to put that on eBay after the game. We'll be right back.
These hips don't lie.
Welcome back, 6:39. Look at the shine out there on the roads. We have moisture that continues to move in, and it's entering temperatures that are well below freezing. Our pavement temperatures also below freezing, so that's causing some problems outside. The good news here is that the precipitation is very light. It's more of a drizzle, a fine mist, and it looks like we've got a lot of holes setting up on our radar. So that is helping our commute somewhat. The pre-treatment is helping as well, but sleet and freezing rain rain will greet you out the door. The snow is up to our northeast towards Gallatin, Chillicothe, and more of a heavy freezing rain profile, especially here on the Kansas side. This is from Pleasanton, Garnett, through Ottawa and Paola. So between now and 7 a.m., we're going to continue to watch the sleet freezing rain line move northeast, and it's getting icy. Freezing rain, very slick conditions through 2 o'clock. That is a long window of time for this freezing rain to occur. It's not likely going to melt or improve at all until about 2 or 3 p.m. this afternoon. So if you can wait to run those errands, I would do it a little later today and around that evening commute, because you're already seeing some issues out there, Daisha.
Definitely a ton of incidents, actually. Crashes happening, popping up left and right. In fact, there's one here on I-29 North at Tiffany Spring. We're monitoring that one, causing a bit of a slowdown, but nothing too big. This one, though, this one is the large backup that we've been seeing, almost at a standstill over on I-70 east of Mo 7. This is due to a multi-vehicle crash. So if you're headed in this direction, you definitely want to give yourself some extra time. And as we take a look at our overall wide view map, you can see the slow areas in and around 35, in and around the loop, and especially on I-70, where I just pointed out where that multi-vehicle crash is. So we're going to continue to monitor things as we get a look at your drive times. Get a little bit slow out the door. Liberty, you're looking at 18 minutes. Olathe, you got 20 minutes. Same thing for Blue Springs, guys.
Deja, thank you. As she just mentioned there, conditions very slick this morning. We're in a winter weather advisory, well below freezing temperatures this morning on the road. They're even lower. An update from Storm Tracker on our current conditions with Gerard Bailey coming up in just a few minutes.
6:44, and back to that breaking news. 2 houses damaged in a fire in the last 90 minutes.
We are hearing there are injuries in this fire this morning. 41 Action News reporter Charlie Keegan live near East 12th Street and Ewing Avenue with an update. Charlie, what's going on?
Lindsay and Taylor, we learned just here in the last 5 minutes this is a confirmed fatality, that a woman died in the house fire here on 12th Terrace behind me. I want to get you right to Deputy Fire Chief Jimmy Walker, who's here standing by with me this morning. Tell us, what was it like when your firefighters got here about 90 minutes or so ago?
Well, when our crews arrived, we found a 2-story home heavily involved in fire, and there was already structural collapse starting to take place. Our crews went defensive, and we already had a house to the west starting to catch fire, so our crews had to aggressively attack that fire as well. We had a gentleman outside of the home. The home that was on the original home on fire was a vacant home, but he reported that there was someone trapped inside. After we knocked the fire down some, we did gain entry, and we did discover a female's body.
Okay, thank you for that. The other house next door was occupied. What kind of damage did the fire cause to that home? We
had some fairly significant damage, but our crews made one aggressive attack and did a great job. Got inside and knocked down the fire. We do have Red Cross coming for them, but their houses will be salvageable.
Salvageable. Okay, great. What is one of the difficulties that you guys face when you have a house that's on fire that strong and this kind of weather?
Well, I mean, anytime we have a house that's that heavily involved, we have to worry about structural collapse. We have to keep in mind our firefighters aggressively attack every vacant fire in the city, because we know, as the case is here, that we never know if somebody's inside. But with the amount of fire we had and the amount of structural damage, we just can't risk our firefighters' safety to go in there. But other than that, it's very cold. We're on a hill. It's icy, so we have to worry about slips and falls. We throw a lot of rock salt down and just try to walk gingerly.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Well, Jimmy, I appreciate you talking with us this morning, so thank you very much. And we'll be out here throughout the morning trying to keep tabs on this situation, but we know that, like we said, one woman did die in this house fire, and the firefighters have now launched their investigation to find out exactly what caused that fire, but they said with the amount of damage, it could be many weeks or months before they get a definitive answer to that question. Reporting live in Kansas City, Missouri, I'm Charlie Keegan, 41 Action News Today.
Tragic news this morning. Charlie, thank you. Also breaking news, the ice causing problems at KCI. Within the past 30 minutes, a Delta Airlines plane slid off the runway.
Serious problems outside this morning. As far as we know, no one was injured in that slide off. The airport spokesperson trying to get us some more information. Bryant Madrick also on the way there. We'll let you know what he finds out. But that gives you an idea of just how dangerous it is outside this morning.
This weather has been so tricky for so many people. If you're just now joining us, we have more than 250 closings.
This map shows just some of the school districts that have already canceled classes forecast for today. Many of these did this last night. We've also got these scrolling on the bottom of your screen all morning long. You can find them as well at KSHB.com. But the chances are your school is likely on that list because most every school is this morning.
Bitter cold start to your Friday.
Yeah, the storm didn't move in until about 3 o'clock this morning, just about an hour and a half before we went on. But luckily some crews able to pre-treat, but it doesn't mean your commute is going to be anything close to easy this morning.
Let's check in this morning. Mike Quaison with KDOT joining us. So what's the biggest issue you guys are seeing right now, Mike?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Red Friday. Yesterday set up really well for us in that we were able to pre-treat since there wasn't a lot of precipitation that preceded the storm. But yeah, we've had our guys in since about midnight, and they really didn't get going until about 4 a.m. this morning when the freezing rain started to hit. So this morning it's been all about rock salt mixed in with a little bit of magnesium chloride, particularly concentrating on bridges and overpasses.
Oh yeah, always an issue, especially when you have precipitation that's going to be changing throughout the day like this, right?
What are the problem spots too that you know that you're watching? What are the areas that you go, we have to make sure this spot's bad, this spot's bad?
Yeah, well, we're looking at our busiest stretches of roadway certainly are, along I-35 and US 69 in South Johnson County. But we're keeping a close eye on all of our mainline roads. And like I said, we do multiple passes on the bridges and overpasses because we can put stuff down, but then it just tends to refreeze.
Yeah. All right, Mike, thank you for your time this morning. Obviously, a treacherous commute on both sides of the state line this morning. Lots of crews out there trying to keep that from being too dangerous. Mike, thank you. Deja?
Yeah, speaking of a treacherous commute, take a look at our wide view map. A lot of slowdowns in the area, some yellow and also some orange, but specifically here along I-70, we're monitoring that multi-vehicle crash here. And as you can see, it's about a 3-mile backup in this area. Let's take a wider look at what they're looking at this morning. I-70 east of Mo 7, you can see brake lights. That's just about it. Things moving very, very slow in that area. And our meteorologist, Gerard Bailey, is actually out getting a feel for conditions in Storm Tracker this morning. Gerard, what are you seeing?
Good morning, Deja. This is certainly not an ideal situation to be out on the roads, but you know what? We have seen worse around here. I want to give credit to likely the reason for things at least being decent is that we have good road treatment. So looking out here, this is I-35. We've got a lot of traffic on the roads here, but the best news here is that the roads are just wet. The treatment has been doing their job quite well, and we have been seeing temperatures still well below freezing and pretty much collecting on everything that you see. But the good news is that we're not seeing major crashes here just on major roads since the treatment seems to be performing well. So we have been watching what has been going on here in Storm Tracker very clearly. We've been following the temperatures, seeing, of course, how traffic is handling it, but also watching here on our radar monitor. And this is kind of interesting. This is the way it looks on our monitor. Not the Red Friday that we were hoping for, but Mother Nature seems to be showing us exactly what kind of Red Friday she's into with all that red. This is all freezing rain, unfortunately. All right, we'll be coming back a little bit later on with an update, but for now, I'm meteorologist Gerard Bailey live here in Storm Tracker.
All right, Gerard, yeah, red and gold showing up there on our radar as freezing rain and sleet continues to build in and track to the northeast. We're noticing some lighter precipitation at the moment in the 435 loop, so I think that is helping roadways a little bit as well. That pre-treatment is doing amazing. Do not get overconfident, though. That shine out there could be black ice, especially on our elevated surfaces, bridges, overpasses, our side streets, driveways, sidewalks, you name it. Those are going to be the most problematic for us this morning. Here's a look from the Nebraska Furniture Mart. We have a shine on the parking lot there, also along I-70 near the stadium complex. Things are very shiny and probably icy on those bridges. And here's a view from the Country Club Plaza through our Bordner Skyview network. Air temperatures very tricky. We have risen a degree since we last checked, which is a good sign, 28, but it feels like 18 degrees. So remember to dress warmly out there today as the precipitation is building building to the north, we might get a couple snow showers through north central Missouri. The purple here indicates that mixture of sleet and freezing rain that continues to impact the Northland through Liberty, Gladstone, into Parkville and Smithville. And then to our south is where the freezing rain is consistent and actually coming down pretty heavily for a few of us. I'm going to remove the colors here and show you where the rain is coming down heavily. This is where we're most concerned now with some major icing. So this will be from Pleasanton, Kansas, along 69 southward, through 169 up between Paola and Garnett, Kansas, and then up through Ottawa, Kansas. Also, as we look at Lawrence, it looks like Lawrence or Tonganoxie, that area, western Leavenworth County, experiencing some steady freezing rain at the moment. And as soon as the rain starts to pick up, that's when icy roads will be a bigger problem. Luckily, right now, that precipitation is lighter. It's not going to be the case all day long. That freezing rain will pick up. So for your commuter forecast, I'd really avoid driving today if you do not have to get into work or drive around town. I would wait to drive around till later this afternoon as our temperatures are rising. So freezing rain is likely for an extended period of time until about 4 p.m. At that point, our temperatures are rising above 32 degrees and will change any of that frozen precipitation to liquid, melting that ice that will accumulate out there on the roadways. So as we will see this prolonged period of time in the ice, looks like areas along and south of I-70 will experience some of our higher ice accumulations. In Kansas City, still forecasting 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, and that corresponds with those in the winter weather advisory. But look at our counties shaded in pink. There's a few of us that are in a winter storm warning, and this is the general area that will experience way more ice totals that will get up to 4/10 of an inch. And this is the general area that will have to watch for potential power outages. This is when our tree limbs, this is when our power lines start to sag a little bit as they get heavy with a lot of ice. So keep that in mind with those winter weather advisories overhead. Temperatures tonight drop down to 26. We might get a brief wraparound snow shower early Saturday morning, but we'll be out of here for the most of the weekend. The big story is the cold, and you'll notice here in your Chiefs forecast, oh yeah, it'll be loud out there. Tailgating, we're at 14, feeling like 4. By kickoff, 22, feeling like 10. So dress very warmly. Luckily, a little more sunshine expected, so you will want your sunglasses.
Those sound nice right about now.
Yes, they do.
Messy wintry morning. And road conditions really just treacherous right now. You'll notice ice on your driveway and your sidewalks.
The first thing you want to do is put some salt down, whatever your different kind of ways you like to do it at your house. But there are a lot of different kinds to choose. Everyone has their own different way they try to fight ice. 41 Action News reporter Ray Daniel is live this morning with what's the best that you might consider if you've been unsuccessful in the past, Ray?
Well, Taylor, Lindsay, good morning. There's a salt crews just behind my shoulder. They've been working hard trying to get this area in Brookside very clear. And, you know, one of the biggest issues and problem areas are these curves when you're getting up to the curves. So when you are laying down that salt, when it comes to your driveways and sidewalks, there are different types to use. We did talk with CE Distribution. It's a salt company out in KCK. And, of course, they haven't been as busy as they were last winter. But when it comes to an event like we have this morning, they get very, very busy. And they said one of the first things you have to do when it comes to your salt is making sure you don't go cheap on it, because it could cost you a lot more money in the long run.
Just always put down, like I've said for cement, put down the most expensive. Your cement is going to cost you way more to replace than what the difference is in buying just a basic rock salt and 100% mag chloride or calcium chloride. Those are what's the safest on your concrete. And typically, I think retail, you're going to spend $20, $25 for a bag or a jug or something like that. So go for the expensive stuff.
So those things that she mentioned, magnesium chloride and calcium chloride, those are the things to look for just to make sure to keep it from corroding or eroding your pavement. Reporting live, Ray Daniel, 41 Action News today.
All right, Ray, thank you. And back to that breaking news we're following at KCI, apparently closed right now because of slick conditions on the runway.
A Delta plane also had its nose wheel drop off the taxiway pavement within the past 30 minutes. We told you about that. Good news is no one was hurt there.
Yeah, the airfield is closed right now. Joe McBride at the airport tweeted buses are being brought out to remove those passengers. But if you have a flight this morning, you'll be waiting a while to leave Kansas City. They are applying de-icer to try to improve these conditions. Very precarious for planes trying to taxi on this.
And it lets you know know just how bad it continues to be this morning, because clearly they were getting ready for this last night and they're still having to fight it.
Yes, and now it looks like a wave of some heavier freezing rain is moving in. It's pretty light in the 435 loop right now, drizzle. It's going to pick up, and that means the road conditions are going to deteriorate pretty quickly for the rest of the morning and afternoon. We do get above freezing, not until about 3 or 4 p.m., so keep that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and I am monitoring a few incidents and accidents along our roadway. You see a lot of slowdowns. Join us over on 38 The Spot, and I'll have an inside look at everything that we are facing out on the roads.
Much more to tell you over there. See you in 3 minutes.